Let's full screen this and watch. This guy has some really interesting things to say. He makes really good points. I think that lefties need to hear what this guy's saying because he's right, and it would make the lefties more competitive if they just listen, but they probably won't.
I want to try to put in perspective what many of my Democratic friends have been talking about today.
He's a Republican.
They're very, very upset at President Trump. And they're very, very, very upset at Elon Musk.
Yeah, they are. They hate that guy.
President Trump ran for president.
He's a Republican. Thanks for letting me know.
One of the issues he ran on, he said it almost every day. He said, if you elect me president, I'm going to go through the entire budget and review all the spending, line by line. If I heard him say that once, I heard him say it 1,000 times. And that's what he's been doing. He went out and appointed, through an executive order, Elon Musk, who some people like him, some don't, but
a lot of people don't.
He's a very successful business person.
Yeah, he is.
He's got a top secret security clearance.
How do you get that?
President Trump issued an executive order, and he turned to Mr. Musk, and he said, Mr. Musk, I want you to do for me what I said I was going to do in the election. I want you to go through all the spending, line by line. Now, let me ask you something, Mr. President. How are you going to review the spending without reviewing the spending? How are you going to audit the spending by an agency without auditing the agency? That's what I mean when I say common sense is illegal in Washington, D.C.
It is.
That's what Mr. Musk is doing. He's put together a crackerjack team, and they're going through everybody's spending line by line, item by item. Yep. And my Democratic colleagues are very, very, very upset. And they've been very eloquent. They've talked about the process, and President Trump's executive order supposedly violates the Constitution. And they've accused Mr. Musk of having conflicts of interest. And so I've heard people say he's sitting over there with a notepad, copying down everybody's Social Security number, and he's going to go use it to make money. I mean, people in this town, not just my Democratic colleagues, they're really upset. They've never said anybody question their spending. But that's what Mr. Musk is doing. But you know, I've listened. This has been going on for a week. People have been screaming like they're part of a prison riot. Oh, my God, look at what Musk is doing. He's looking at the spending. And I've listened to people talk about the process and debate whether it's constitutional and discuss how many lawyers can dance on the head of a pin. But you know what? I haven't heard one single person who's upset with President Trump or Mr. Musk talk about what he's found. They don't want to talk about
that's true.
The spending porn, the waste of taxpayer money that he's found.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point of all this.
Exactly. They don't want to give a W to Trump. That's the only reason why.
The people in America who get up every day and go to work and obey the law and pay their taxes and try to educate their kids and try to do the right thing by their kids and try to save a little money for retirement, and have had to live through 20% inflation under President Biden. They understand what Musk is doing. They understand spending porn and wasting taxpayer money. Now, Mr. Musk started with the USAID. That handles a lot of foreign aid for America. American people are very generous. In our country, you know, when you're homeless, we'll house you. When you're
4 more years,
hungry,
baby.
We'll feed you. In our
We're
country,
just getting started.
When you're too poor to be sick, we'll pay for your doctor. And we send a lot of money overseas.
Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. Thank you very much.
Is in charge in large part.
Now I know who he is.
But
I'm going to pay attention to this guy.
Musk discovered. I find it fascinating. He discovered
that
the
way this guy
American
talks,
taxpayers are giving money to Afghanistan. He found that we are giving money to Yemen. He found that we are giving money to Syria. I didn't know that. Some of our foreign aid is going to Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria.
Why?
He found that the USAID has 10,000 people, employees. And every year they give away $40 billion. Mr. Musk...
And this $10 super chat from Dig Tito says, in the 70s, under Lyndon B. Johnson, threatened to revoke U.S. aid to India unless they introduced a mass sterilization program. What the fuck? Is that true? Thank you for the $10 super chat. That's a crazy-ass comment. Can we fact-check that or comment on that in the chat, guys?
Also found, and I'm not saying that all of this money is wasteful. I'm not. Some of this money, I'm sure, does some good. That's why Secretary Rubio is going to revamp the department and separate the good from the bad. But this is the kind of stuff Mr. Musk found. He found that the USAID gave money to support electric vehicles in Vietnam. Our money, taxpayer money.
Yeah, why are we doing that for them?
The USAID gave money to a transgender clinic in India. I didn't know that. I bet you the American people didn't know that. He found that the USAID gave $1.5 million to a Serbian LGBTQ group called Grupa Izladaji. I probably mispronounced.
Bro, this sounds so corrupt. It sounds like you're just giving money to anyone.
$1.5 million to, quote, advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business community. What else did Mr. Musk found that my colleague?
I want him to keep looking. I don't want Musk to stop. I want him to keep going forever.
Checked it. The study was done by the Middle East Forum. They found that USAID spent $164 million to support radical organizations around the world. We're not talking Cub Scout troops here. We're talking about radical organizations around the world.
That's crazy.
They gave $122 million of that to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations. Our taxpayer money. According to this report in Mr. Musk, the USAID has given millions of dollars to, quote, organizations.
This is probably the craziest scandal of all time in our country.
My colleagues talking about that. Recipients of the money,
this has got to be the most insane scandal, and we're just getting
called for
this
their
is just the
lands
tip of the
to
iceberg.
Be cleansed from the impurity of Jews. That's what we're giving foreign aid to. What else? I'm not going to spend my whole time talking about this, but
Cyrus in the Twitch chat says Biden funded an LGBTQ parade here in Ecuador. He's from Ecuador. Says it was around $150 million. That's crazy if true. That's insane if true. $5 super chat from Cryptic says, I guarantee you Musk will find $2 trillion in corruption if he's not stopped by the left. Yo, they're going to stop him. $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Cryptic. $2 super chat from Big Tito. It's called India. The emergency, the source is Asia. Thank you for the $2 super chat.
Nobody else is talking about it. They're just talking about the process and Mr. Musk, and he's a mean guy, and he shouldn't be looking at our spending.
Yeah, he needs to be looking.
And I kind of find what he's found out interesting.
Me
found
too.
That we gave $2 million, USAID did, for sex changes in Guatemala.
Why?
He found that we gave $20 million to produce a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. He found that we gave $4.5 million.
We invaded that place. We can give them some Sesame Street.
Disinformation in Kazakhstan. He found that we gave $10 million, USAID did, of meals to an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group called the Nusra Front.
Every single one of these things that we're giving money to is like its own massive scandal, and like just one of them alone should dominate the news cycle. You know, but it's like zillions of things.
Musk found that we gave $7.9 million of taxpayer money to a project that would teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid binary gendered language. The USAID took $8 million and gave it to a bunch of journalists in Sri Lanka to teach them how to avoid binary gendered language. I don't know what the hell binary gendered language is. I think I do. You think most taxpayers would support that? Why aren't we talking about that? The USAID gave $1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. They gave $1.5 million to rebuild the Cuban media ecosystem. They gave $1.5 million for, quote, art for inclusion of people with disabilities in Belarus. Another $3.9 million for LGBT causes in Macedonia. $8.3 million for equity and inclusion education in Nepal. I could go all night. And many of my colleagues are upset. They're really mad at
me too.
Mr. Musk. Hell, I think we ought to give him a medal. All he's doing is what President Trump said he was going to do. President Trump said he's going to audit the spending. So Trump goes and hires Musk, again with the top secret security clearance. Nobody can quibble with his intelligence.
Nope.
You know, the guy's as smart as Einstein's cousin. He's a very successful businessman. Some say he's the richest guy in the world. And he's doing the auditing. And, man, he's finding a lot of stuff.
Putin's the richest guy in the world.
I call it spending porn. Now, I'm not saying everything that USAID does is wasted. But I'm saying a lot of it is, a hell of a lot of it is. And we ought to be on the floor of this United States Senate thanking Mr. Musk.
Yeah,
and we ought to be asking him to go through every agency and look at everybody's budget.
Yes.
Everybody's
yes.
budget. That's what the American people want.
That's what I want.
Process. They don't want to continue with the Washington way. They want to save some money.
Yes.
And let me tell you what's really going on here too, Mr. President. For 4 years under President Biden and for 8 years under President Obama, I have all the respect in the world for President Biden and President Obama. Tough job. But between them, they spent 12 years in Washington. And
he's respectful. I like him.
They control the questions that are asked. And here's the question that President Obama and President Biden asked for 8 years. For 12 years. I heard it every single day. Who needs to pay more in taxes? Is it you? Is it you? Who needs to pay more in taxes? We need more money. Who needs to pony up more? That was the issue. But that's not the issue today. We have a new president. You know what the issue is today? What the hell happened to all the money?
Yeah.
What the hell happened to all
Bro,
the money?
if people...
And that's what Mr. Musk is finding out.
If there's corruption, they need to be arrested.
And I'm just shocked that my colleagues have decided that this is a hill they're going to die on.
That's such a stupid hill. Bro, it's such a stupid hill. Any lefties bro, you're going to lose. Democrats are going to lose so much support if they keep fighting against this. They're going to lose so much support. And you know what? I believe, I have a conspiracy theory that they have to fight against this because a lot of them are caught up in it illegally. I bet a lot of them are caught the fuck up. And there's receipts, and they don't want Elon Musk to go get them. And that's why they're dying on that hill. And so either way, I feel like they're backed in a corner right now. Either way, they lose. There's going to be a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. There's righties too. I guarantee you there's Republicans that are in that shit. All right. It's not just Democrats. I guarantee it. It's infected everybody. I bet all kinds of people put their hands in the fucking pot. All right. And I want to find out who that is, man. I'm all about it. But I feel like the Democrats are so against it because it's either they get found out for some shit they shouldn't have been doing. Right. Or they lose all their support. I think that's what's going to happen because people are everyone can agree that let's look at what we're spending all the money on. I think everyone can agree on that. Man. So it's like the Democrats are choosing the least popular stance here. Literally the Democrat politicians, Democrat regular people that are not politicians, they're looking at their side and they're like, what the fuck, guys? Let's look into this. Okay. Anyone that's not a politician and they're against all this, they're straight up fucking brainwashed by their side. They're a lost cause. Right? There's not very many of them that are, there's not very many people. I would say it's 80-20. 80% of Democrats are in support of figuring out what all the money is being spent on. Finding corruption.
The American people in the eye and support this kind of waste, support this kind of spending porn. I mean, the election to me made at least one thing clear, that the American people are sick and tired of people in Washington denying reality. The last administration tried to convince us that we were living in a crime-free world where inflation was temporary and the border was secure.
Bullshit.
American people didn't buy it. You know
why?
We didn't. Because it wasn't true. And the administration, our last administration, tried to argue that Bidenomics was making our lives better. But the American people knew differently.
Yeah.
They understood Bidenomics to mean I get to spend more to live worse. And they voted. Now, I mean, the American people were poorer under the last administration, but they didn't become stupid. They could see that the government was creating a problem, not trying to fix it. And they noticed the national debt, too. Put up that first chart for me.
I want to see the chart.
What our national debt is, Mr. President? $36 trillion.
That's a lot.
Not million, not billion. $36 trillion. It takes my breath away. Highest it's ever been.
Whoa.
Over 100%.
Debt per citizen, 102,000. So 36 trillion in debt, 355 million Americans. So that means that each American has $102,000 in debt. That's what it would equate to if we all work together to try and work it off. That's insane.
Percent of our gross domestic product. Our debt's growing faster than our economy. And we toss around these numbers, $1 trillion, $1 billion, $1 million. Since 2019, America's population has grown 2%. We're not having babies, 2%. And that's after massive integration.
It's because it's so expensive to have fucking kids, dude.
55%. 55%.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, we've had inflation.
People are fucking scared to have kids. You have kids, you're going to be like financially ruined for the rest of your adult life, dude. That's why people don't want to have kids. Seriously, like there are people that are doing it, and we all see it. They're barely fucking getting by, dude. They're like people with kids are barely getting fucking by. It's so terrible, and they love that they had kids, right? But man, are they struggling? And I see it with all of my peers. I didn't have any kids. I was like, dude, I'm too scared to have kids. I don't know if I'll even be able to afford it. I don't want to raise a kid and not be able to afford having them, bro. That would like be a terrible way to raise a kid.
We hadn't had 55% worth of inflation. That's how we got to this $36 trillion in debt. Put up the next chart for me. Now, some of this money we had to spend during the pandemic, and it was a bipartisan effort during the pandemic. Republicans voted for it, and Democrats voted for it because we had no choice. I was there. I saw it from the inside. We came this close to losing the American economy. And you know who helped a lot, doesn't get enough credit? Jay Powell at the Federal Reserve. I watched it. The whole world wanted to go into a cave and retreat. Back in the Great Recession, I remember all the other countries in the world who looked to us. They may hate us, but they know we're the greatest country in all of human history. They looked to America. And you know what? Back in the Great Recession, all the other countries wanted they wanted treasuries, treasury notes, treasury bonds.
I love this. I'm just looking at this now. Green New Scam Infrastructure Act.
Not this time. They were so scared. They didn't want treasuries. They wanted dollars, cash dollars. So Jay Powell, thank the Lord, he goes over to the Federal Reserve. He opens what's called a currency swap line, and he told every country, you want dollars? I'll trade your dollars for your currency. And everything calmed down. He doesn't get any credit for that, but it was a gutsy thing to do. But on top of that, to save the American economy, that wasn't helping the American economy. We had to keep the economy going. We spent a lot of money.
This isn't Lindsey Graham. This is a different guy.
And what we should have done was go back.
I like this guy more than Lindsey.
Spending, but we didn't do that. President Biden, after the shutdowns and the coronavirus, the pandemic was over, passed the American Rescue Plan. COVID was over. He spent $1.9 trillion. Never let a good crisis go to waste. I didn't vote for it. Then he came back and passed what he called an infrastructure bill. It was really just the Green New Deal. I know what's in that bill. That was another $1.2 trillion. And then he passed the Inflation Reduction Act. I didn't vote for it, but that was another $1.0 trillion. And then he passed the CHIPS Act. This is really special. He said, big tech, the semiconductor companies need our money. They need taxpayer money. They're not making enough money.
What?
And he gave them money. He didn't give hardware stores money. President Biden didn't give the healthcare industry money. He said, I want to help big tech. And boy, they sucked it up like a Hoover Deluxe. We spent $280 billion subsidizing
That's the way this guy talks.
And you add it all up, and that's $4.3, almost $4.5 trillion. And that's how we got $36 trillion in debt. And that's why Donald Trump said, I'm going to look at every single line item of spending. And that's why he gave the job to Elon Musk. And that's why Musk is auditing these accounts.
Lindsey Graham voted for some of this wasteful spending. Yeah, I don't really follow him that much, but I just...
American people. They get it.
I don't know. I don't have all the facts, but I learned sort of stuff. I don't know. I just stopped really liking the dude. But I don't really have a good reason to say it. Jumped over from vertical. Yes, there you go.
To come over and talk to Congress.
Yo, you guys over on YouTube, if there's a link at the bottom of the chat. If you're on phone, if you're watching on phone and you want to watch on a widescreen, you can come over to Twitch. We are streaming this full screen over here. There's only 19 of us over on Twitch enjoying the Gucci full screenness of this stream. Okay, just saying. So if you guys want to come on over, you can. Better experience over there. However, if you just want to hold your phone in your hand very comfortably and watch, you are more than welcome.
About how he's doing this. I'm all for that. I am all for that. I would love to have him come over and walk us through what he's doing and how he's discovering all this spending for him. We need all the help we can get on reducing our spending, because we can't continue at this pace. I just wanted to spend a few minutes putting all this in perspective, Mr. President. The world's not going to spin off its axis, folks. Every business that I know of goes through an audit. Now we're being audited, but we're being audited by not by the usual auditors, but we're being audited by a person appointed by the President of the United States. And I'm betting you when he's through, and he's going to go to all these agencies. He's starting on the Department of Education next. I think he'll end up finding that some of our money is being well spent, but he's also going to find that some of our money is being stolen and it's being wasted.
Yeah, it's being so wasted
to every taxpayer in this country.
It is.
I'm going to say,
it's a slap in the face.
We ought to be giving Mr. Musk a medal.
Yeah.
We ought to be thanking him. Maybe nobody else wants to hear about this spending porn, but I can't wait to read the book. I hope he finds all of it and compiles it. I hope Marco Rubio, our new Secretary of State, takes USAID and shakes them by the shoulder and lifts up the good people there and fires the bad people, the people that wasted taxpayer money like this, giving money to terrorist organizations, giving money to organizations that support Hamas. Hope he gets rid of every single one of them. And I think if we listen to Mr. Musk, we can save a lot of money. And I hope he does.
We totally can, bro. He's going to save us so much fucking money.
Explain what he's doing.
People who think they're smarter than Elon Musk are so stupid. All right. Like anyone who think like, bro, this guy is so fucking good at money. He's so good. Like that's literally his thing. That's what he does. He became the richest man in the world. Of course he's good with money. You don't do that and not be good with money. He's good with money and he's going to track down all this dumb shit that's happening with money. Man, dude. I'm just like, I never thought we would see the day. I never thought we would see the day where things like this would be happening. I thought this would never happen. I thought we would never get control of all of this absurdity and get everything straightened out. You know, never thought that would happen. That's absolute. I'm just wow, dude. It's only been 2.5 weeks. We get 4 more years of this. I'm just like, we get 4 more years of this. This is what I'm talking about.